Right, welcome everyone to another episode of the Love Island Cast. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Phelps, and my co-host is Mr. Dave Horrocks.
Hey there, Chris. Delighted to be in. Delighted to have you back. Can you confirm or deny that you were actually on standby for the Villa?
I was, Dave, and I was going to be heavily involved with Curtis's recoupling.
Oh, I thought you were just unclogging the toilets.
I probably got the looks of a plumber, Dave, not of a model anyways. You could be right, actually. But yeah, I apologise. There was things going on. I just couldn't make it. And thanks to Asa standing in valiantly for me. I've got to say, he wasn't as funny as me, Dave. But, you know, thanks, Asa, anyway.
Oh, no. So, I mean, presumably, though, you caught up and everything. And then, of course, we've had tonight's shenanigans as well.
Oh, yeah. What I basically said is I'd gone on a works do. We're in London, travelling back to Manchester. I'm on the minibus. My earphones were terrible. I'm pushing them into my ears watching the episode from yesterday. And then tonight's episode, obviously, I've come straight back in. And I know it sounds ridiculous. I mean, even talking and saying it, like, I was so gutted I missed it, Dave. You know, it was like I was travelling on the underground thinking, come on, get back to our hotels in Brentford. Even then I put about 20 minutes on and I couldn't last. I was like, right, I'll watch it tomorrow. So it was just so good. It was good. And I think there's a couple of things you and Asa picked up on were really good. And I think you bang on the money, to be fair. But tonight's episode again, I mean, poor Amy, she put it on the line, didn't she, the other night when you and Asa discussed it. And I don't think what Curtis did was any worse. It was over. That was it. And she was willing to give him that goal. We'd said that, didn't we? And I just think now, just move on. It's finished. He's a very, very strange lad, to be honest, because the stuff he thinks are going on in the Villa and how he feels is not what we're seeing, because I cannot see why he's just threw all that away at all. But the fact that she's, and I did joke about this a couple of episodes ago, the fact that she's talking about in 4 weeks them getting a mortgage and things like that, I think it's just for the best for both of them, shall we say, that they're not together, because he's made some stupid mistakes and he's getting the shit that he quite rightly deserves.
He does. And I've got to say, I mean, we've given a bit of stick and thrown a bit Amy's way, and I don't think a lot of it's unjustified, but, you know, you're getting to the point now where you're just like, look, can someone just step in? I mean, I'd deliberated. I was wondering to myself, so, you know, and this was the day after I'd recorded, you know, Asa and I had recorded right after the show on Wednesday. And I was wondering to myself, I was thinking, has Curtis actually done something good there? Because he never actually broke it off. Even though he said to Tommy he did, he didn't. So he just said that he can't promise he won't do that again. And so Amy was the one who had to say, right, so that's that then. And I was thinking to myself, I wonder if that's a bit of a genius move, because he's actually given Amy the power to break it off. So it does kind of empower her. If you stand and look at it from a particular angle and squint a bit, I think 90% of me just thinks he was a fucking weasel and just didn't have the balls to just come out there, spit it out and break it off. But 10% of me was thinking maybe he's done this kind of magnanimous thing. But then when tonight Amy's just talked about giving him a second chance, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, someone have a word with her. You know, or I'd said, look, she's a grown-up. She should stay in the Villa and she should try and couple up with someone else. But in that, you know, few seconds where she's asking that, I'm just thinking, fuck's sake, producers, someone just come in. This has gone too far now. This is beyond entertainment and any kind of social experiment. This is a broken person, and she's got a lot of issues that she needs to sort out herself. But I don't think it's funny anymore.
No, it's not. And I think, to be honest, though, Dave, one thing that she's struggling with, or I'm struggling with Amy, is I don't think really she's much of a nice person, to be honest. I mean, she bumbles around the Villa. She gets all the girls, you know, to sort of justify what she's going to do. I know I wasn't on the episode, but fuck me, if someone's coming to me with it written down on a phone, I don't know whether you agree or disagree. I'm basically looking at that going, just fuck off. I just, for me, if someone's going to have a pop at me, and I do understand sometimes when you have a Barney and that, you don't express yourself correctly, but I was just like, no, this is not a world we're living in where you're writing down a text sort of notebook thing.
And I don't know if you heard, I mean, I was okay with that. And especially given that she'd gone into that first conversation, she'd bottled up, she wanted to say a load of things, but didn't have them organised in her head. So it was only when she went back to Curtis the second time that she actually, gave him what for and got some things off her chest. But so I was okay with that. What I'm not okay with someone sitting down, like, they've been rejected at a job interview and asking for constructive criticism.
Yes. Oh, Dave, fuck, mate. That was terrible. Because you're opening yourself up for personal criticism, and not only personal criticism. If it was, say, me and you or me and someone else, and it's just you two together, and it's like, can I just ask you what I did wrong? You're saying it in front of a fucking audience of millions, a social media snowball that will just grow and grow and grow. There'll be memes, GIFs thrown out there taking the piss. And I was thinking, no, I was cringing, Dave, like, no, you haven't asked that. Because Curtis, to be fair, was going, I don't think I should be saying that, really, Amy. Are you sure? And then he just jumped. Sorry, Dave. Shit, that one. But I had to throw it in there.
It was more Jordan again, but it's all right. I still, it entertains me.
Yeah, I've been practicing not very good while I've been away. But he throws it out there. And even he did advise and say no. And then eventually he just said, look, you're just too needy. You need too much reassurance and that. And coming from him, who's been the matriarch of the whole villa, I think I just call bullshit on him as well. As much as I don't like Amy, I don't like him at all. And I think they just need to separate and just go. And leading on to that, Dave, what the holy fuck is Maura doing?
Oh, Jesus Christ. I thought it was a wind-up. So on Wednesday, when they had, tomorrow on Love Island, and then, you can see Maura going on about Curtis. I'm like, oh, this has got to be some sort of wind-up, this. And I did tweet out, I said, is Maura fucking Dory or something? The way she flips about, like she's got a 3-second memory, and she flits about from person to person. What the fuck? And I guess Asa had a point that he said, maybe the other girls in the villa, including Maura, actually looks at that Amy Curtis relationship and thinks, you know what? I think Curtis has got a bit of a point. Like, to your point, that she's not that nice a person. I think she's just got a lot of self-importance, and she's got a bit of entitlement, hasn't she? I think she's not a terrible person. She's just got a lot of things to iron out, that, and insecurities about herself, I think, that manifest themselves in negative behaviour towards other people. But yeah, what can you say?
It's just fucking bizarre. And Maura, like you just said, Maura's just strange. I mean, I have a running joke. I'd say try before you buy. Fucking hell. I mean, we get a preview for Sunday's episode and she's dancing with Curtis. Now, I said ages ago, like it must be 7 days ago at least, maybe 10 episodes ago, whatever. There's no such thing as fucking girl code or guy code. But surely she called Curtis out straight away, didn't she? She said to Amy the other night, like, that is it. It's fucking over. Are you a real girl? And all this. And then she does that. For me, that is an utter see you next Tuesday trick. I'm sorry. It's absolute fucking disgraceful.
It's not good, is it? I mean, especially as I'm sure on one of Amy's lists was, you don't teach me to dance or something like that. I mean, fuck me. Could you do anything worse? I mean, we've agreed, Michael's behaviour has been pretty poor, to make, to understate it. But surely fucking flaunting that, it's just terrible. And of course, do you remember, I think someone on Twitter had pointed it out, that when Maura first came into the villa, I can't remember who the conversation was with. It was probably Tommy, because he's always sort of taking Tommy for a chat. But he'd said that he'd emailed or messaged Maura on Instagram and she'd never responded. And he was like, no, doesn't matter. Just, but that's what happened. So,
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that she hasn't responded, I bet, look, girls like Maura, I bet they get about 100 messages a day from random blokes on Instagram, you know what I mean? So it's not that. I can't read anything into the fact that she didn't respond. But there's obviously a physical attraction there. So I don't know. I can see they could couple up until old Maury gets an eye for someone else, and then she dumps Curtis and gets bored with what Curtis has to say. But yeah, just I did not see that one coming.
No, I didn't. And I was going to mention what you've just said as well. So fucking great. But Dave, let's be honest. I don't want Amy having some sort of breakdown or being absolutely torn strips off, totally character assassinated on the show. But it's going to be great to fucking watch, isn't it? It really is.
Oh, I don't know.
No, just for the fact that you're thinking, well, more not from Amy's point of view. I do actually sympathise with her as much as I don't like her, but I'm thinking, fuck me, Maura, how are you going to justify that to all the girls, to all the lads, what you're doing? There's no justification, but it's fucking great TV, Dave. Absolutely great TV.
So I'm with you on all the drama and stuff, and that was this whole experiment, and you've got me bought into it all. But for me, there's a line, and that is beyond the line. And as much as I don't like some of Amy's negative behaviours, you know what I'd quite like? If some bloke now came into the villa, made a beeline for Amy and just fucking went for it, right under Curtis's nose. Because, I can't stand Curtis now. The way, and he was put in an awkward position. It's like, give me your constructive criticism. That is a question that no good can ever come of, especially not right now, maybe in 6 months, maybe. But you don't fucking ask that if you don't want to know the answer. So, but it was clear he was never into her at all. It was just purely all a game plan. And he's gritted his teeth. And the fact that he said to Maura in the morning there while he's getting the coffees in, I feel like there's a weight lifted off my shoulders. It just proves he's just been biting his lip all this time and putting up with their shit.
And that's not right. Anyway,
No.
Forget that you're on the show. Is he that fucking desperate to get his fucking tap dancing shoes on Strictly that he's going to act like an absolute prick? And then he decides what he should have done was stuck to his guns, saw out the whole show, whether it's right morally or not. It isn't right, but for the purposes of the show, get his okay deal, him and Amy ride off into the sunset, 500 grand in each other's pockets. He gets Strictly, she gets on Loose Women. Everyone's a fucking winner. But all that's going to happen now is he's going to end up on some fucking low budget sort of reality show on Living or fucking some other dodgy challenge TV. He just play the game, and he decides to get a prick of conscience while he's still in a show with all these cameras and everything. So I call he's a cock, Dave, and he's going to get exactly what he deserves. So, yeah, just strange. Now, Dave, let's talk about the weirdest. I think there was a part of this episode was just fucking bizarre and so strange. The Anna Jordan date and the Amber and Ovie date. Now, it was ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And Sam actually pushed out to me and said, I didn't see this, so I want you to sort of agree, whether you agree or whether you even spot it. I did not see it. It's something I need to go back and watch. That when Ovie was talking to Amber, she said it looked like he was reading something off the table, like it was a script. And I don't know if I didn't see that. So I when I watched it the first time, I didn't. And she's watched it and said, I'm pretty sure, because I watched it in another room to her. So she said, I'm sure he's reading off a script.
So let me get this straight. You were watching in different rooms. Are you in the Curtis doghouse?
She asked for constructive criticism, Dave.
Better get you over to Men's Aid then, I guess, and clear up that black eye you've got.
Dave, I mean, don't worry about that, Dave. I might be 6'2", but she's 5'4". She'll never be. So, yeah.
So I have to say, I think Ovie, if he was reading off a script, well, that might explain it, because a lot more of his personality seemed to come across in this one.
He seemed like a nice bloke.
Yeah, he seemed like a top bloke, actually. But I had wondered, when Michael was on one, and Amber went across and she was on the bed with Anna and Ovie. Ovie was offering some reassuring words, which I was just like, well, you shouldn't be getting involved. You've just arrived there. But he seemed to get really quite close to Amber. And it did make me think. I thought, well, I wonder if there's something there. And actually, in that dinner date, it did seem to be a bit of chemistry there.
They did, to be honest. But the only thing was a bit strange was obviously she really still likes Michael. They'd had a clear the air moment, hadn't they? And that come from nowhere, though, didn't it? Then, we'd had all this thing where he'd been prodding and pricking at her. Well, I don't have been pricking at her, Dave. We didn't see that on the unedited stuff. He's been prodding Amber
from under the table.
Well, maybe he's got a cricket bat. It's not over. Sorry, I'm going to keep milking that joke. But, but they just seemed to sit down. There was just total hatred, and Anna had a discussion with him, and it's like, what? And he even said to her, like, what's he got? He's got the fuck got to do with you? You sit down. And Anna's just like, some of the shit, she's still fucking totally oblivious to the fact that she's playing Ovie and Jordan now, and she's doing. I think she's stepped over what Michael's done, because she's trying to say, like, I don't understand it. These people, I just don't get it. And I'm like, fucking hell, if you don't get it and you're doing it, well, how the fuck are we supposed to get it as the audience?
Yeah, I mean, I'd sort of talked about this yesterday. I mean, the big difference between what Anna's done and what Michael's done is the way Michael's aggressively gone after Amber up until tonight. Right, he'd gone way over the line. He'd never actually just apologised. He'd never actually just come out and said, look, this is shit. I've just connected with someone better, and I feel like longer term, we've got more of a chance of making it. But in that brutal recoupling, you think Amber's walked in there all smiley faced and everything. She's not only sort of had the rug pulled from under her, she's then been attacked. It's like, well, we've split up because basically you've been like this and you've done this and I've had to bite my lip. And so that is the biggest difference. I do think I'm not absolving Anna of whatever game she's playing. And, I don't like the fact that she's dishing out all of the, the mightier than thou, holier than thou, sorry, mixing my metaphors again. Asa will be on that one. So I think that is the biggest difference.
Yeah. No, I think that's a fair sort of argument to that. I think one thing I would say that I wasn't very happy with Michael was when they had that discussion was Amber, all of a sudden, and this is where I think she's influenced by Anna a lot, because I think she's actually quite a nice girl when she's not with Anna. When she's with her, this whole attitude just comes up and seems like she's playing a character. She was too submissive with everything that was going on. She basically admitted that everything Michael had said was completely his fault, and I don't think he's blameless at all. But she literally was saying, I'm too difficult because I don't do this, I don't open. I'm thinking, well, when she went to Casa Amor, they were as strong as they can be. They were even stronger than Molly and Tommy. So I don't understand what more she could do. She'd opened up to him. They'd had a little spat at one point, and the whole time they were on side as a couple. But they were solid. They was ready. I don't understand what she'd done wrong, to be honest.
Well, again, I'm going to make a slight excuse for her and say, look, she's 20. So, initially, and we'd said from let's say last week, we've seen clips of her where she's been pretty horrible, to be honest. And, just you can see where Michael's built up that perception. And they're obviously, living and breathing it 24 hours a day. But you can see why he feels like he has to bite his lip. But since then, apart from the odd catty comment where she's just lashing out, I don't think you can fault her, to be honest. No, I mean, especially tonight, and that kind of submissive stuff. She's gone off the offensive, and I think part of the reason she was on the offensive was she did not want Michael to know how much she's been hurt. And tonight, we saw that sweeter side again, and she was being overly submissive. But again, I don't, Michael kind of apologized, but he didn't apologize for attacking her. He just apologized for recoupling. And for me, I'm going to say it, Chris, the recoupling is what it is, right? It's his behavior from that. And so you can see, and again, same with Amy. your heart breaks a little bit, to be honest, because you can see how much she is hurting. And in that dinner date with Ovie, you know, you got this big hunky bloke and, you know, but all she can think about is Michael. But I have to say, I thought it was a strange choice when she said to him, who have you got your eye on? Joanna. And it's like, are you fucking kidding me? It's like the girl who she probably, and I know she said like she's a nice girl, but deep down she must still fucking hate her guts because of what, you know, the situation she's part of there. So I thought, fucking hell, Ovie, you could have said anyone there. Yeah. And I thought, to be honest, the obvious thing was to say, well, to be honest, you.
Yeah. Yeah. And that would have made more sense. I completely agree. I was totally left field because what made me laugh is Anna and Jordan had alluded to on the balcony that they were going to kiss, and she did stop herself, but she obviously wanted to. And then when they were there and he told Amber who he was going to, you know, he was interested in Joanna, and then Anna's pulling the face, and I'm like, well, how?
Well, I'll tell you what, though. I mean, look, Jordan's on his Operation Anna. And kind of good luck to him. I think his behaviour has been exemplary. You could say, well, maybe not because he's going after someone that she knows is coupled up. But you know what? It's Love Island, so it's all pretty much fair game. But, I mean, Anna is a lot more conflicted than I thought she'd be, to be honest. And, you know, he's putting on his moves there. When he gets a text, you know, you can take anyone for a date. I expected he'd probably invite Anna, but I didn't fucking expect her to say yes and leap up from the side of the pool quite so quick.
She's like a fucking ballerina, wasn't she? Wayne Sleep. She was fucking prancing across the pool, wasn't she?
Like a fucking Jack in the Box. She's just like, bing, yeah, of course I'm on a date. Oh, not even acknowledging Ovie or anything like that. So, I mean, he was as cool as a newt, wasn't he? You know, considering that situation. So, you know, and I'm glad. I thought Amber was going to take Michael, and I'm pretty sure that's what she wanted to speak to Anna about, but I'm really glad she didn't, and I think it worked out well. But, I mean, at the minute, it looks like Anna's probably leaning towards Jordan a bit more than Ovie.
Yeah, yeah. And if it happens, it happens, and also it should teach her a lesson for getting on a high horse at some of the guys she's attacked, because that's what Love Island's about, exactly what you've said. Now, Dave, talk about a segue in and mine and your understanding of not knowing women very well. We've actually had a review sent in, Dave, by a fan. Okay, so...
A fan?
No, we like transparency. We're completely open, me and you. We understand the whole concepts of this show. We're going to get people maybe not agreeing with us. Now, this one's entitled LOL. They've given us a 1 out of 5 review, Dave, which is fair enough. That's their opinion. And it reads, LOL, listening to this podcast makes it abundantly clear these guys do not understand women.
And the thing is, Chris, I recognise who that's from. So that is from Z89258. And that's my ex-wife, that is. I think she might be right.
Dave, I've been married for 20 years and I still don't understand women. So I think that review is absolutely on the money. So thank you very much for that review. Now, Dave, have we got any more reviews?
We do actually have a couple of slightly more flattering ones than that. So one of the other ones, so it says Top Love Island pod. They actually say what they think and not what they are told to say, like the official one. And that's from Dan Hall 76. So thanks very much, Dan. Any others, Chris?
Yeah, this one's entitled Great Views. And it simply says, I don't know how they do it, but all of their predictions have been smacked out for a 6. They're bang on. Must be using Ovie's cricket bats. Hilarious and straight talking. I highly recommend. And that's by Will Plank. So thank you, Mr. Plank. I do appreciate that. We both do. Keep the reviews coming, guys, because we just love reading them and obviously reading them out to you too. Now, Dave, what a great episode. Again, Sunday nights can't come quick enough. Where can everyone catch us, Dave, if they want to interact with us on social media or email the show?
Well, you can get us on Twitter at Love Island Cast, or you can email the show at theloveislandcast@gmail.com.
Great stuff. Dave, it's been an amazing episode. Thanks, everyone, again. let's go into another week. Let's hope that hell breaks loose as we approach in the back end of Love Island. What have you got for us, mate?
Well, it is great to have you back, Chris. And as Noel Gallagher once sang, it's good to be back. He, of course, ripped that off Gary Glitter, who said, "That's not my PC." Goodbye.